And now...
What is this?
I know you're gonna dig this.
This is the Flatland Sports Podcast.
Where do you come from? Lubbock, Texas?
Lubbock, Texas.
A place called Lubbock.
I wonder if they think I'm so gorgeous back in Lubbock.
What do you care about Lubbock? You're big time now.
I'm just a little homesick, that's all.
Is that what you want, Larry, to spend the night in Lubbock, Texas at a day's inn with a $15 voucher from Cinnabon?
Lubbock? No, it's near Lubbock.
What's it like there?
It's flat, real flat. You stand on a coffee can, you can see Colorado.
Happy Friday from across the Great Plains of West Texas. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast, free and available worldwide on YouTube and Spotify. Got a late start this week, my apologies. Had just a really hectic week, but we are here now. We will be on time next week. I'll have a new episode on Tuesday, and we will have the live post-game show after the game on X. Lots to cover today. Red Raiders get the win against the Oklahoma State Cowboys, 42-0, the first complete shutout of a Big 12 opponent since a 28-0 win over the Baylor Bears in 2005. A get-right game after a loss to Arizona State by 4 points when you made an incredible comeback, but just couldn't close it out after Sam Leavitt just made some incredible plays in the final drive. And also, just a great revenge game against a team that has just had its way with you for the last 15 years. We'll discuss a little bit of that. I know it's Friday. We've, for the most part, moved on from that game and are looking ahead to Kansas State. We'll also grade the position groups. We'll preview the Kansas State Wildcats. We'll have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Take a look around the Big 12. And it is basketball season coming up this week. We'll have Big 12 Power Rankings Basketball Edition. But first, Red Raiders in action. Texas Tech Soccer played 3 games since the last time I was talking to you. First, we had the number 7 Colorado Buffaloes on Thursday. That was a 0-0 loss. It snapped a 20-game match road win streak. That was on Sunday. And then on Sunday, bounced back with a 3-1 win over Kansas State. Taylor Zajewski scored a pair of goals in that game. Macy Blackburn added one as well. And then, of course, yesterday, the Red Raiders closed out the regular season with a 0-0 draw against UCF. Had a 20-3 shot advantage, but just couldn't get one to go in. The Red Raiders finished the regular season 13-2-3, unbeaten at home for the second time in 3 seasons. Finished 4th in the Big 12. Would have finished first if you could just had a couple things go your way over the last week. They will open the Big 12 championship play against Baylor on November 3rd from Fort Worth. And then, of course, both men's and women's basketball start the season this coming week. Women's basketball will tip off on Monday against North Carolina A&T. That is a 6 p.m. tip-off on ESPN+. Last season finished 19-18, 4-14 in the Big 12. This is a huge make-or-break season for Krista Gerlich. And then, of course, men's basketball starts their season on Tuesday against Lindenwood. That is a 7 p.m. tip-off, also on ESPN+. Entering the season ranked number 10 in the preseason AP poll. Last year finished 28-9, 15-5 in the Big 12. Went to the Elite 8 for the second time in program history. Very nearly made the Final Four. Had the lead with 3 minutes left. And the eventual national champion, Florida, mounted a huge comeback in the final 3 minutes of the game to win. Very high hopes for this season. Even higher expectations for this team, with Christian Anderson named to the Bob Cousy Point Guard of the Year watch list. Should be an exciting season coming up as Texas Tech chases another Final Four appearance and the ever-elusive national championship. And then, of course, in football, Texas Tech blanked Oklahoma State 42-0. Defense played an elite game, as is the norm now. Offense played a good game given the circumstances, scored 42 points. It just feels like the offense hasn't fully hit its stride yet. Injuries to the quarterback, a huge factor as to why, which, of course, is the biggest news of the game, as Will Hammond is out for the season. Joey McGuire announcing during the press conference he has a torn ACL. Happened on a play where he tried to make a cut and just landed on the leg the wrong way. Now, the good news is that Joey McGuire has announced during the press conference that Baron Morton is back. He will be starting. He said he was healthy enough to start against OSU, but they opted to rest him for another week, given the caliber of competition they were facing and the fact that the game never truly got competitive. The bad news, of course, now is if Morton gets hurt, Mitch Griffis is all you have from a backup quarterback standpoint. Now, Mitch Griffis had a solid game against Oklahoma State, put together 2 80-yard touchdown drives in his appearance after coming in for the injured Will Hammond. He really could be a solid bus driver. And with the defense that you have, a solid bus driver, if we're talking about winning the Big 12 and making a deep run in the college football playoff, a solid bus driver is really all you might need. Hopefully, though, it's a moot point. Hopefully, Baron Morton stays healthy. And if you can put together multiple games with a healthy Baron Morton at quarterback, watch out. This offense could really start a fire. We'll be back. We will talk about the offensive and defensive position group grades. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast. Now let's go ahead and move on to the position group grades. We'll start with the quarterbacks. You both get an A. Both quarterbacks, in my opinion, played great. Will Hammond had a solid first half before exiting the game with an injury. He was 9 for 15, 102 yards, and 1 touchdown. Mitch Griffis, I really thought exceeded my expectations. Now, it was against Oklahoma State, which is a terrible, terrible defense, granted, but Mitch was 9 for 13, 172 yards, 1 touchdown through the air, 1 touchdown on the ground to close out the game. There was a reason why Joey McGuire went out of his way to go pick him up after he had effectively left the game of football, was working construction last year. Running backs, you get an A. Jacoby Williams was responsible for the first 2 touchdowns. He returned 1 back on a kickoff, the opening kickoff return. Cam Dickey ran in the third one. Cam Dickey was 13 carries, 47 yards, 1 touchdown. Jacoby Williams, only 4 carries and 10 yards. He's really doing most of his damage through the air and, of course, on special teams. Not a very flashy day on the stat sheet, but both did more than enough to win this game. Wide receivers, you get an A. Receivers had a great day. Caleb Douglas was your leading receiver, 5 receptions, 98 yards, 1 touchdown. Jacoby Williams had a touchdown through the air. Coy Eakin made some critical catches. He had 5 for 48 yards. And Micah Hudson made an appearance as well. 2 catches for 32 yards. Reggie Virgil had a couple catches. Kelby Valson came in near the end of the game. And Cam Dickey actually caught a pass as well. 1 for 7 yards. And that was Caleb Douglas's second touchdown of the year. Defense, as you know, I grade defense on a scale of pass-fail. Well, the defense passes with an A+, as they've done for most of the year. Forced 10 punts against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Oklahoma State had 0 points. Oklahoma State didn't even attempt a field goal in the game. This is as dominant of a performance as you can have. The Cowboys were held to 9 first downs, 182 total yards, complete domination, and Jacob Rodriguez forced a fumble and returned it for a touchdown. Jacob Rodriguez, of course, your leading tackler, had 10 total tackles, 6 solo, 1 tackle for a loss, and 1 touchdown. Ben Roberts had a great game, as did Jaden Cole Wisniewski. 7 tackles, 3 solo for Cole. This defense just continues to get better and better and better each year. Sheil Wood has done an incredible job with the turnaround at Texas Tech. Special teams, I'm giving you a B. So here's the good. You scored a touchdown on the opening kickoff. Jacoby Williams took one all the way back, 99 yards, to put the Red Raiders up 7-0 before time had really even come off the clock. Jack Burgess averaged 41 yards on a punt, per punt, pinned OSU inside their 20 on 2 out of 3 punts. Just dominant from a punting and a kick return standpoint. The bad, Upton Belafont missed an extra point. Stone Harrington missed a field goal. Now, Stone Harrington, in his defense, he was put out there in garbage time and really was only kicking the field goal just to see how he would do from that distance. And of course, he hooked it to the right. Otherwise, both kickers were perfect with 4 total extra points. Moving on now to next Saturday, the Red Raiders will travel to Manhattan, Kansas, to take on the Kansas State Wildcats. That is a 2:30 kickoff on Fox. You can also listen to the Texas Tech Sports Network. Texas Tech, a 7.5-point favorite. Kansas State leads the series 15-9, currently on an 8-game winning streak. The last win was November 14th, 2015. Patrick Mahomes led Tech to a 59-44 win in Lubbock. Your last win in Manhattan was on October 4th, 2008. Graham Harrell & Co. won 58-28 during Bill Snyder's first retirement. It's also worth noting that Kansas State offensive coordinator is Matt Wells, Mr. Sky Kick, Mr. Screen Pass, Mr. Field Goal on second down, which ultimately was missed, by the way. Was the head coach of Texas Tech from 2019 to 2021, fired by Texas Tech after a 25-24 loss to Kansas State. And the Wildcats saw that and thought, I want that. Saw the screen passes, saw everything, and just like, this is what we need. And they've been paying dearly for it so far. What do we need to know about Kansas State? The Wildcats come in 4-4, a incredibly disappointing season so far. 3-2 in the Big 12. Kansas State had Big 12 title aspirations. Started the season with a 24-21 loss to Iowa State in Ireland. At the time was ranked number 17. As I said, expected to be a contender in the Big 12 title race. Fell out of contention after losses to Army, Arizona, and Baylor. However, currently on a 2-game win streak after wins against TCU and Kansas. Of course, they always follow the Bill Snyder playbook of always improving as the season progresses. So, of course, Texas Tech will get them on the tail end of the season rather than early. It's also worth noting that of the teams that Kansas State has beaten, only TCU has a winning conference record. And they have not beaten a team that was ranked above 80 in total defense. Texas Tech ranked number 10 in total defense going into this game. The question, of course, after last week's win over the Jayhawks is Kansas State improved, or was Kansas simply just a very overrated team? I would tell you the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's a little bit of both. Players to watch, of course, quarterback Avery Johnson, the junior from Wichita, Kansas, has 1,792 yards on the season, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, very mobile, and has an incredibly strong arm. Now, he's mobile, but he really plays more as a pocket passer. He doesn't really like to scramble a lot. When he does run, it's out of their design quarterback runs. He doesn't really do a lot when the pocket breaks down. Running back, Joe Jackson, the sophomore from Haines City, Florida, 95 carries, 382 yards, 1 touchdown. He's very elusive and very hard to tackle. Wide receiver Jace Brown Jr. from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, 36 catches, 577 yards, 4 touchdowns. He is very fast. He is a great route runner. And then, of course, on the defensive side, watch out for linebacker Austin Romaine. He leads the Wildcats with 55 tackles this year. We'll go now to our keys of the game. First key, put pressure on Avery Johnson. And as I mentioned, he is a great pocket passer. He is great on design runs. He's not a great improviser, not great on the move. Just let David Bailey and Romello Height do what they do and put pressure on Avery Johnson and just make his day miserable. Key number 2, run the ball with your running backs. Kansas State is ranked 73 in rush defense. Let Cam Dickey and Jacoby Williams just go out and have a day. And above all, keep Baron Morton off the ground. And that is my next and final key to the game. Keep Baron healthy. This goes without saying. Quarterback health is imperative to the rest of the season. Will Hammond is gone. Mitch Griffiths is your only backup. And you desperately need continuity on offense. The offense just has not clicked yet. Really played their best. And it's because of constantly having to switch quarterbacks after every couple games. Texas Tech has struggled like many teams against Kansas State over the years. Kansas State struggling this year, but seems to be finding some momentum. That said, they have not had any success against teams who can play defense at a high level thus far. Also, Matt Wells. And for that reason, I'm picking Texas Tech to win this one 32-12. We'll have the good, the bad, and the ugly when we return. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast. It's time now to look back and see who's rising, who's falling, and who just wants it to end. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll start with the good. Houston had a huge win on the road against the Arizona State Sun Devils, put Texas Tech back in the driver's seat for the Big 12 title. Thank you so much, Houston. We appreciate it. Also good, Kansas State won the Sunflower Showdown, effectively killed Kansas' hopes and dreams for the season, and exposed Kansas for the overrated team that they are when they can't plant pocket knives in your stadium. Move on to the bad. Iowa State blown out by BYU. 5-3 currently, and outside the race for the Big 12. Started the season as a lot of people's favorite to play in Arlington, and it's just not going to happen for him this year. Also, Matt Campbell's name being linked to a lot of open jobs, which is the norm, and he hasn't left Iowa State so far, but you never know. Also bad, Arizona State effectively killed their Big 12 title hopes. Lost Sam Leavitt to an injury. They're just not looking good anymore. I think it's over for the Sun Devils. And one more for the bad column. Are you going to do anything, Big 12? Arizona State, they were throwing water bottles on the field. Arizona State was not called for any kind of a penalty. And as we sit on Friday, not a single penalty, not a single fine has been announced against the Arizona State Sun Devils. So it's clear, despite what they said, despite claiming that it's a blanket rule that applies to everyone, it's just for Texas Tech. They were just targeting Texas Tech because we're afraid of fluffy tortillas, edible frisbees being thrown. We'll move on now to the ugly Colorado. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Maybe Warren Sapp needs to stop kicking down pylons during the pregame at Visitor Stadium and spend that time getting ready to watch football or win football games. He may be getting ready to watch football games too. I don't know how long this staff has at Colorado after this season. Oklahoma State, it isn't even worth mentioning anymore. They're ugly. The fans are still having fun though. We'll see how much the mayhem in the student section escalates before the end of the season. We had bananas last week. We had shirtless people the week before. Maybe we'll have shirtless banana. Well, we had that last week too, so I don't know. But keep watching the Oklahoma State fans. They are doing the best they can. We'll be back. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast. It's time now to take a look ahead at games around the Big 12. We'll start with West Virginia and Houston. West Virginia traveling to Houston to take on the number 22 Houston Cougars. Houston is a 13.5-point favorite over the Mountaineers. As I said several times earlier this season and in the preseason, I don't think West Virginia is going to win another game this year. This roster has checked out under Rich Rodriguez, and I don't blame Rich Rodriguez for that. I blame the roster. That's an 11 a.m. kickoff on Fox Sports 1, and Houston is going to win this game 32-14. Moving on now to UCF and Baylor. That game, an 11 a.m. kickoff on ESPN U, as Colin Cowherd would say. Baylor, a 3.5-point favorite against UCF. The Knights have had some flashes this season, but Baylor is, I don't even know what Baylor is. They're like a bad team that somehow keeps winning games. They're 4-4 on the season. They really should be 2-6. But I've got UCF to upset the Baylor Bears 43-40 at McLean Stadium. Moving on now to Arizona State, Iowa State. That game is a 12 p.m. kickoff on TNT HBO Max, the TNT game of the week. Iowa State, a 7.5-point favorite. And Arizona State is done. No Sam Leavitt. Iowa State's going to win this game 34-28. Oklahoma State at Kansas. That is a 3 p.m. kickoff on ESPN+. Kansas, a 24.5-point favorite. Probably one of the smallest point spreads for any team facing the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Kansas 4-4, Oklahoma State 1-7. Oklahoma State has not won a game in the Big 12. Kansas is 2-3. It is a classic Big 8 team against two meh teams. But I don't see Oklahoma State pulling this one off. It's going to be Kansas 24-13. Arizona, Colorado. That game is a 6 p.m. kickoff on Fox Sports 1. Arizona, a 3.5-point favorite. Colorado, just not looking very good right now. I'm picking the Wildcats 16-14. Utah at Cincinnati. That is Big 12 after dark. 9:15 kickoff on ESPN. Utah, a 10.5-point favorite. Utah looked really, really good. I'm expecting this to be an instant classic. This is a potential battle for the Big 12 title game. Really, really, from a Texas Tech standpoint, need Utah to get this win to get Cincinnati off the championship radar and potentially out of a tiebreaker situation. I'm picking Utah to win this one 24-20. Utah's going to come back in the fourth quarter. We'll be back for one more. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast. College basketball starts in a week, and of course, it's time now to take a look at the field with Big 12 Power Rankings.
She's got, Captain. If I push it any harder, the whole thing will blow.
It's Division I football! It's the Big 12! It ain't either murals!
We'll start at the bottom. Number 16, Arizona State. Lost a lot of pieces to the portal. Weren't really that good to begin with. 4-16 last season. Finished near the bottom. Only returned one player, which may actually be a good thing because they were so bad. Arizona State did a complete roster overhaul. We'll see if it pays off for them, but I don't think it will. Number 15, Colorado finished last place in the Big 12 last season. They played hard, returned some good pieces, and picked up a great shooter in Barrington Hargrass. I think they're still too young, and so they're going to finish in the bottom half of the Big 12. Number 14, Utah. They just fired their coach, hired new coach Alex Jensen, the former assistant to the Dallas Mavericks. Great hire, but the running Utes are in full rebuild mode. I think it'll happen for them in the future. I don't think it's happening for them this year. UCF, another rebuild. Johnny Dawkins put together a brand new roster, picked up some great players from the portal and from the recruiting trail. They could be good, they could be bad. We'll just have to wait and see. Number 12, Oklahoma State. They return Robert Jennings. Otherwise, it's a completely different roster. They could be better this year as well, much like UCF. And I'll tell you, with the Cowboys football team, the Cowboys need basketball to jump in and take off here. I don't know if it's going to happen. Cowboy basketball has suffered tremendously since specifically the Oklahoma City Thunder moved in from Seattle, and just the local Oklahoma basketball fans kind of turned away from Oklahoma State basketball. But we'll see. You start winning games and everything is possible. Number 11, West Virginia. They just hired Ross Hodge, the former UNT head coach, former associate head coach under Grant McCaslin. Absolutely great hire. They are in full rebuild mode. I don't expect them to do anything significant this year. However, they will be a dangerous team. TCU at number 10. They returned most of their key players, put together a great recruiting class and a great portal class. Could be dangerous this year, could be a potential Big 12 title contender. Now, my counterpoint, Jamie Dixon, and I'll just leave it at that. Number 9, Kansas State made some great moves in the portal, added Nate Johnson from Akron, the MAC Defense and Offensive Player of the Year. I do have questions about Jerome Tang's ability to coach, though, at a high level after a lot of drama last season. We'll see about Kansas State. Number 8, Cincinnati. They underperformed last season, but they were a good team. Picked up some good players in the portal. Day Thomas returns, has potential to be a great basketball team. Look out for Cincinnati. Number 7, Kansas. Lost key players such as KJ Allen. Returned Flory Badunga. Added Darren Peterson. They should be good as always. However, the Jayhawks just aren't guaranteed to run the Big 12 anymore. Number 6, Baylor. Made some great moves in the portal. Brought in Tiande Yesufu. Baylor is a title contender. And I mean a Big 12 title contender, but also a national championship title contender this year. Number 5, Arizona. Returned most of their roster. Added 5-star Braden Burries. Another Final Four contender, as is the norm for Arizona. Iowa State returned most of their roster. They'll be dominants on defense this year and will just be an overall force to reckon with this year. I think Hilton Magic will be back. Number 3, BYU had a great season last year, returned most of their starters while also picking up some great players over the offseason. BYU is a team that will be hard to beat. I expect them to finish in the top 3, if not at the top of the Big 12. Houston, number 2. They were the national runner-up last year, lost on a buzzer beater, just couldn't get the shot off in time. Couldn't get the shot off at all, unfortunately. They return Uzan, Tugler, and Sharp. They are poised for another Final Four run this year. And of course, number 1, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Return JT Toppin and Christian Anderson. Both of them expected to play even better than they did last year. Picked up Luan Watts to replace Darian Williams. May be the best team thus far for Grant McCaslin if they can stay healthy. And so that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back after the game for the official Flatland Sports postgame show live on X. For Flatland Sports, I am Chris Johnston. Thank you so much for joining me, and Wreck 'em Tech.